What is up, my peeps? Joshua Smith here with another GSD Mode podcast interview. Every single week, I interview top entrepreneurs, top real estate professionals, and straight up top badasses that are out there dominating their space. These are people choosing to not live a life of mediocrity, but instead to go out there and create big, amazing, epic lives for themselves, for their families, as well as make a big impact on others. And today, guys, as always, we got another rock star, epic, amazing guest on the show. So our guest today is Jeffrey Brogger, who is a social media expert, if you will, right? Knows exactly how to go out there on a huge level to generate leads on social media, different epic and effective strategies to go out there and generate leads at the highest possible level on social media, as well as how to automate not all of, but a lot of the follow-up with everything that we're doing through chat bots, through text messaging, you guys. So we go deep into social media, into follow-up, into the setup of this, what's working now today as we're here in 2020 with all the changes that we've seen in social media. And he dropped so much gold. I personally learned so damn much in this interview, and I know you will too. Now, real quick, before we jump on into the podcast, you guys make sure to check out 41 Tips with joshuasmith.com. These are 41 weekly coaching tips from myself personally. I've written every one of these personally. They're in-depth, hardcore strategy that you can implement into your real estate business that will help you make immediate impacts and have big growth inside your real estate business. They're 100% free. There's nothing being sold in these, you guys. It's not some sales pitch when you're jumping in there. It's just free content that I'm here to give you guys to support all of our amazing listeners that listen to the podcast and help you guys grow and kick ass in your real estate business. So again, 41 tips with joshuasmith.com. All right, guys, time to jump into this epic, amazing GSD Mode podcast interview, and I will see you inside the interview. All right, Jeff, welcome to the podcast, my friend. I'm stoked and honored to have you on here. I'm excited for this, dude.
Appreciate it, Josh. Really stoked to be here and can't wait. It's going to be a great discussion.
Yeah, man. So, I was checking out him, been checking out your website and following you for a little bit of time now. And, you guys are doing some really unique things, and I'm a guy that is big, a huge believer. I mean, Facebook was like, I think the greatest gift that the God sent down for me and my businesses over the years. And there's so much opportunities to be had there. And you guys are doing it in some unique ways, man. So I'm really stoked to learn about what you guys are doing for your real estate clients, to go out there and generate the amount of leads and also the follow-up and everything that you guys are doing, which is amazing stuff. But before we get into all that, dude, I'm always intrigued in our guest journeys that led them to what they're doing now, in the first place. I mean, if we're on the clocks, how did your entrepreneur journey start and how did you wind up in the software game, man?
Right. Yeah. So starting from the beginning, basically both my parents were entrepreneurs. I did not grow up in a normal household where both my parents hated their jobs and woke up and, were tired when they got home and all that. No, both my parents were entrepreneurs. My dad had his own plumbing contracting company and raised it to $1 million net worth before he passed away. And he was super proud of that. I saw him get up every day and he was very passionate. He had a team and, he was a happy guy, worked really hard, made lots of money. And that was part of my experience. And then my other experience was my mom owned a motorcycle tour company. She literally did off-road tours in Baja and it was the biggest motorcycle tour company in their space for 20 years. They were the ones. And so they would have a fleet of 15 motorcycles come back on Monday. I'd go, after school, go help them wash all these bikes. And then by Thursday, they'd go on another weekend trip to Mexico and clients would fly in from Wall Street and they had this whole tour company out of their house. And so, that experience really lit the fire for me to be entrepreneurial, to do my own thing. And that led into a commission-only sales job right out of high school. I was recruited for Cutco Cutlery and basically started doing the knife thing, right? The average rep lasts 2 weeks, but I was able to thrive and stick around for 6 years. I did sales, I did sales management for them. And that's where I really was able to cut my teeth on business and get some amazing mid-level executive and leadership experience at a young age. I mean, I was 18, 19, and 20, managing a sales team of 80 reps, selling, we broke records back-to-back years, had some amazing coaching in that time that also instilled personal development and the importance of personal development into me. And now, 10 years later, I'm 28 and I've continued to invest in myself, invest in masterminds, continue to read books. I have a list of personal development books to read, and my bookshelf is stacked with all these leadership, how-to, life hack, personal development books. So that's basically just been ingrained in me. And, now today, sales for me, it started there. It started with the one-on-one, and then it started with me then managing and teaching other reps how to do it. And then I evolved into more of a marketing role because I wanted to move the needle in a larger capacity, impact at a higher level. And so I got into marketing, founded a marketing agency, started focusing on real estate and real estate clients. And then where software came in is in the last 18 months, I realized this major need that I had identified. I saw that brokers needed this type of technology where someone would come in and, run their Facebook ads and help them with their social media and create effective follow-up systems that use newer technology. I knew that brokers needed that, and like top, 55-year-old brokers or 45-year-old brokers that were amazing at real estate, and they needed someone to then be on their team for all the social media and the technology. But I didn't fully understand when I started that journey that every agent needs this, even if they're a young, new up and comer that maybe can't afford to have a marketing agency work for them, but they still need all this stuff. So that's where my software as a service came in later. I wanted to be able to scale it, reduce the price, reduce the barrier to entry, and then have agents be able to come in and basically learn everything that we have already built. Kind of go through training and have templates to work with. Some of the younger, savvier agents could set this up and do it at a fraction of the cost. So, that is the in a nutshell journey, and I'm happy to elaborate more and answer further questions on any specific parts of that journey.
Love it, man. So your experience at Cutco, because I know Cutco is popular for real estate agents for client gifts and so forth, right? Was developing, I'm just kind of curious of what led to, I'm going to open this ad agency, because you could have went to any route, right?
Totally.
But was it your experience there that you just developed a relationship with real estate agents and kind of developed a passion for maybe serving that industry specifically?
You know what? It's kind of an interesting journey. So I mentioned briefly that my father had passed away. And that's, it's not a sob story. It's just my story. He passed away when I was 16, and he actually willed the house to myself and my 3 sisters. So at 16 years old, I was all of a sudden a real estate investor. And I read Rich Dad Poor Dad among all the books that I was reading to just better myself. So I was exposed to these ideas at a very young age, 16, 17, 18. And actually through the years, I've now bought out all of my sisters. I still have that investment property 10 years later. It's rented out. And I actually almost became an agent. I took real estate agent prep courses and was about to get my license. My girlfriend's dad was a broker in my college town. Like I was there, like I was going to do it. And my girlfriend at the time and I split up. That like was the dichotomy of like, okay, now I'm going to go back to Cutco this next summer. I'm not going to do, real estate in my college town. I'm going to go back to San Diego and do Cutco. So it had been exposed multiple times to me. Hey, real estate. And then by the time I founded a marketing agency, at first I was doing everything for everybody, but then it circled back again to real estate. I was like, you know what? Like, I really want to get niche focused. I want to solve one problem for one industry and do it better than anyone. And that's where I was like, you know what? I'm going to call some realtors, some real estate brokers that I know, and really just do this. Focus on helping real estate agents.
Yeah. Love it, dude. Love it, man. I was watching one of your videos where you're talking about, one of your clients getting essentially a 12x gross ROI. One of your videos like, hey, would you give me $1 if I give you 12 back? Right? And great sales copy on that video, man. Or not sales, ad copy, man. Like I can tell that you're a great marketer yourself by watching that video. So I know that you guys are doing great things, getting great returns, and creating a lot of success for your clients. And before we get into kind of, the things that you're doing, I'd love to hear from you, because most of our audience, almost all of our audience are real estate agents, right? And I know a lot of them are doing social media marketing. And, It's kind of one of these spaces, man, where it's a huge frustrating space. It's right? Like it's hard to kind of, crack the code on it, man. And, with the agency and with everything that you guys are doing now, like, what do you see some of the biggest mistakes that real estate agents are doing when it comes specifically to their social media marketing?
Great question. I honestly think some of the biggest mistakes are not investing in your own brand. If you're investing in lead sources like Zillow, Realtor.com, and it's working for you, it's getting you ROI, great. I'm not saying, stop. I'm not saying don't do that. What I am saying is you also need to shave off at least a portion of your marketing budget, or even if it's not a marketing budget, you just need to reinvest into your brand. And what I mean by that is when you have a listing video made for a new listing that you have, amazing drone footage, you've paid a video editor to do it, don't just post it and share it with your friends organically and get 100 views. Put some Facebook ad money behind it, not a boost, but actually run a proper video view campaign on Facebook and push it out to people that live in that local area. You can essentially digitally farm and push your brand and invest in your brand, because what happens is you can then retarget all the people that have watched, say, 50% of that video or more. So the power of that is that you're not now paying Zillow or you're paying Realtor.com to expose their brand to get more of the buyers looking at their app and looking at their website. No, you're paying for these buyers and these local homeowners that are other potential listing leads to see your video through your Facebook page. And so I would just really want to reemphasize the fact that reinvesting in your own brand is super important today. And if you don't know how to do that, you don't want to take the time to do it, then there are plenty of resources out there to have someone either run those for you, or like our SaaS model, we can kind of help you set it up with templates and training and make it really quick for you. So I would just say making sure to reinvest in your brand is huge. And I think that a lot of agents don't understand the long play and the long value of their brand, their personal brand, not their overarching brokerage. If they're with a Coldwell, or if they're with, one of the big ones, but really reinvesting in their brand. Right. So it's a big one.
Yeah, couldn't agree more, man. Love it, dude. And yeah, I mean, it's not that you're not going to get this instant gratification of like running a lead generation ad, right? But I think that's something that I think a lot of real estate agents miss when they're looking at brand marketing is it's like when I used to do radio and TV, and this is why I love social media, dude. Like I used to do $60,000 a month between radio and TV, just absurd amounts. And now I can spend a tenth of the money and get better results with social media, right?
Yeah.
But I couldn't just count the ROI off the radio and the TV. I also had to, of course that's important to track, but I also had to look at the increase of everything else I was doing, right? Because that brand marketing, if you're targeting that area, maybe you're niching down in that geographical farm area, your open houses, like your conversion ratios will increase over time. Like every little thing that you do, it has that kind of residual compounding effect, that I think people really need to pay attention to, because it's powerful if you commit to it.
No, that's a great point, Josh. And I'd actually love to touch on that for a second.
Yeah.
One of the masterminds that I joined recently, great. It wasn't like an article or a post, but they had meetings every week that we were able to attend. And one of the leaders of it talks about not thinking about your business linearly. Too many entrepreneurs only look at one number, looking for one ROI from one campaign, and they say it wasn't worth it or it was worth it. Well, you also have to think about the residual effects, the ripple effects of that campaign. And what you just mentioned is perfect. You ran radio and TV, which aren't as much direct response. They can be if you drive them to a specific phone number that only is used there, or you use some kind of coupon code or something that you could track with. But for the most part, that's more brand awareness. It's more general. You're looking for like longer term ROI. So you didn't only look at it as we spent this much this month and we did or did not get that instant gratification. You thought, well, over time, my listings got easier. People walked in, they already knew me. People walked in, they already knew my voice, my style, and they had heard me before. They had heard me 2-3 times, and then we had the first phone call, right? So you're looking at it more holistically, which is a very important point to also look at, is not only the direct, immediate gratification of, you got to track that stuff, and you can nowadays with analytics, but also think about, well, you know what? At the same time, my incoming calls, even though I didn't use that number, but I have a hotline number for, call anytime, that actually, grew by 30% last month when we were running this campaign. So, maybe that's correlated. Like, don't forget about that. And I also always tell my clients, don't forget about the level of exposure we got you, because you're getting 6,000, 7,000 views a week on a campaign that generated X amount of leads. Well, you still had that many impressions, right? So yes, we're tracking cost per lead and cost per conversation, all this stuff. But what about the amount of eyeballs that saw it, right, in your local market? And that none of that's really taken into account unless you think about it. So great point there.
Yeah, love it, dude. So then, Facebook, it can be a love-hate relationship, right? Because they're always changing things up, but especially for the real estate industry, recently they've made some big changes, the special ad category, removing some things. And I don't know if some of those have come back now, or not, but, what, for those that are maybe are just become discouraged because of the removal of, I don't know if it's still there or not, but like custom audiences, lookalike audiences, and so forth. What kind of impact have you seen, whether good or bad, based on these changes that Facebook has made specific to our industry?
Completely neutral. There's been zero impact that I've seen in cost per lead, quality. All they did, in my opinion, and don't quote me on this, but all they did is take some of the freedoms away from marketers in order to show the court that they were acting in the better interest of the user, meaning Cambridge Analytica and all these court cases that Facebook is constantly fighting because they're a massive corporation, and Google, Apple, all of them are constantly in multiple lawsuits. So Facebook needs to show the public that they're respecting the public's data and that they're not misusing it with advertisers. So what they did is took away some freedoms, i.e. the micro niche targeting and being able to zoom down into 1 mile around a certain specific address, and some like really hyper targeting stuff that you used to be able to do. Well, you can't do that exact thing, but you can accomplish the same goal in a different way. You basically give Facebook the right direction, and then you let their algorithm do everything else. So what I mean by that is, if you're savvy and following me up until this point, if you're running a Facebook ad now for real estate, you have to mark the housing category, right? It's one of the 3 special ad categories. Then that limits your targeting. You can use custom audiences, which is positive. That allows you to do retargeting and all that. But you can't do a lookalike, right? The lookalike audiences were like, everyone like, you could do a lookalike and create people similar to closings and similar to your existing clients and have Facebook find them. Well, guess what? You could still do it. It's just called something different, right? It's just called a special ad audience. It's not a lookalike audience anymore. And so you let Facebook essentially do what you used to do, but you don't have to target it as much on your end. You just click some different buttons. So in my opinion, there was a little bit of a scare, but now after months of that compliance update and us getting the same results for clients, I can tell you that if you know how to adapt to it and still communicate the same goal to Facebook, the algorithm will do the work for you.
Yeah. Love it, dude. Powerful stuff, man. So when it comes to, before we get into the follow-up component of this, when it comes to the actual lead generation side, what are some things that are really working well right now today? And look, I know that by the time, people can be watching this a year after release, but as of the time that we're recording this, man, it's March 19th, right? Kind of 5 days into the president recommended quarantine, and, the world shutting down because of coronavirus. And And I don't know if you experienced this, but holy crap, dude. I mean, we're getting the best CPLs that we've ever had. Right? And I don't know if it's because less realtors are marketing or if you just have more eyeballs on Facebook right now,
Right.
because people are at home. But I'm like, I mean, we're doing the opposite of everybody else. I mean, we are increasing our spend as fast as Facebook will allow us to increase it without a breaking, right? But I'm curious, man, with this of like, what are you guys doing? Like, what are your top clients doing that's just crushing it today?
Well, number one is taking advantage of these incredibly low interest rates and really positioning to a buyer's market, because it's such a unique time. We were talking a little bit prior to the podcast starting about how this is a huge opportunity. And the fact that you're scaling up speaks exactly to that point. I'm suggesting all my clients increase their ad spend because, like you said, our cost per lead is either maintaining or going down for all of our clients and campaigns. And whether that is more people being on the platform or it just being a time when people are a little bit savvy and they're looking to capitalize, I'm not sure. But we're definitely using both tried and true campaigns as well as testing new ad copy that is focusing around taking advantage of this time, switching to a buyer's market, super low interest rates, secret list of off-market properties, and then for the seller side, that's still an option. It's not like people don't still need to sell their house or want to sell their house. Speaking about the coronavirus in particular, right? They're sometimes just a little bit more leery about having people walk through their house. But there's so many options nowadays: virtual tours, 3D tours. I was in a conversation today with an agent that said he's sold 10 homes FaceTime only, sight unseen, over the last year. And he said he's going to start leaning more into that because that was just kind of by accident that this all happened. So there are so many options. And I mean, the numbers speak for themselves. Your CPLs are down, our CPLs are down. A lot of agents, I feel like you're right, they are shutting down their marketing and they're preparing for the worst. But at this time, just like in 2009 and 10, when I was at Cutco, I learned that direct sales goes through the roof during a recession or a correction, because guess what? People aren't going out and going shopping at malls, but they're still buying. You just got to go to them. So don't be afraid, capitalize on this. Savvy investors, business owners zig while everyone else zags. So while every other agent right now is zagging, shutting down, trying to save, yeah, sure, cut expenses, do what you need to do. But at the same time, really think about capitalizing and setting yourself up for the next 10 years over the next year, because this is an opportunity that's not going to be here forever.
Yeah, love it, dude. So then when it comes to scaling, man, because I've heard so many different things where it's like, hey, like 30% of the campaign budget every 7 days, right? Because it's, and this is in my real estate business, but in one of my other businesses, so I spend about 75,000 a month between all the businesses, but one of them in particular is the majority of that, about 50,000 a month. And it gets to the point where you hit a threshold where it doesn't scale well anymore, right? And I've had issues of scaling too fast where it just breaks, doesn't have time to catch up. And I mean, do you have any, I guess, advice on how we should scale most effectively where we can allow Facebook to do its thing without just breaking the results that we're getting?
Yes. So there are two ways to scale Facebook ads: linearly or horizontally, vertically or horizontally. So if you're scaling vertically, then that means you basically have like one campaign, 1 to 5 ad sets, and like 1 or 2 ads that you're testing, and you're essentially just increasing the budget. Now, if you're doing that, only increase the budget about 15 to 20% per day, and that quickly then scales exponentially, right? It might only start as a small change, but then as you're continuing to compound that 20% on top of itself on the bigger and bigger numbers, then you're starting to scale higher and higher later. But you're still only scaling 20% at a time. So that should help to let you vertically scale and not break that current campaign. Because if you go from, say, $30 a day to $3,000 per day, well, it's just not going to get the same results for whatever reason with Facebook ads. You think it would, like, oh, cool, yeah, open it up wide open, right? But I found that if you scale it, and a lot of the training I've gone through, at about 20% per day, it adds up quick. Like you'll see, you'll be at the number you want pretty soon, but not just jumping from $100 a day to 500. You know, go to 120. And then from there, go to 130, and then go to do those smaller increments up into it. And it'll also help to train you to pay more attention to your Facebook ads, because it's kind of easy to set it and forget it. But then you look back and your CPL and everything is like way out of whack. And you're like, oh, I should have checked on this days ago. So if you get into more of a habit of doing smaller increments consistently, then I have the horizontal scaling to talk about. But do you have any questions, comments on vertical scaling?
Nope.
Cool.
No, but I don't know about horizontal. I know about vertical. I don't think I know about horizontal. So I'm excited about this one.
All right. So horizontal scaling. This is actually more common in like e-commerce, but I have heard of it used in other places. So what you do is you do tiny budgets on the ad set level. So for those of you that might not be as familiar, there are 3 levels in Facebook Business Manager for running ads: the campaign level, the ad set level, and then the ad level, right? So at the ad set, that's basically your audience. It's who you're targeting. Well, horizontal scaling means you would have 500 or 1,000 ad sets. Like you just keep duplicating them, but the budget is like $1 per day. So the really unique part about this is that you teach Facebook to find very inexpensive leads, and you punish Facebook when it does not achieve the result that you want. So for example, I heard you recently on a podcast that you did, Josh. You said you're averaging like $3.50 per lead. So say you did each ad set $3.35. Well, you're teaching Facebook to find that lead, and you have to sit there and watch it. But right when it gets to spent $3.36 and did not achieve the result, you shut it off, duplicate it, and start over. And so what happens is you'll have like over a very short amount of time, you'll have like 1,000 ad sets, a lot of them inactive. But what happens is Facebook gets very efficient because it learns you shut off the money button when it doesn't achieve that result. So it'll get that result for you. And it takes a little bit more management. Like you got to really sit there and watch it and duplicate and duplicate and duplicate. But it's a unique way where my buddy who scaled an e-commerce, he scaled an e-commerce brand over the last like 3 months, and he was getting 30-cent, 75-cent conversions on like a $10 product, and just printing money basically. So that was more like horizontal scaling.
Yeah, love it. So obviously you got campaign budget optimization off. You're running the budget per ad set on the ad set level. Then from there, you know how you can do it. I don't know the exact term, but you can do it where it's like lowest costs, or you can set like a bid cap, or you can, do you leave that alone on the horizontal scaling? Or if your goal is, $5 a lead or $3.50 a lead, do you set like the bid cap or whatever the cap for that?
Right. I understand what you're asking. And for this particular case, we just leave it blank, and you just basically punish Facebook for not achieving the result by shutting it off. Yep.
Love it, dude. Love it, man. So then when it comes to the follow-up, as we all know in sales, fortune is in the follow-up, right? And we can generate leads all day. And what always drives me nuts is in Facebook groups specific to real estate agents, right? Where it's like, oh man, guys, check this out. My CPL is, 50 cents. Right. And I'm like, dude, yeah, I can go out there and generate 50-cent leads all day. Like buy cheaper than you can rent, right? Foreclosure ads. But then, I've got to generate 400 leads to one closing. Plus my cost per acquisition ends up going up. Right. Plus my cost of investment and time and follow-up, because I had to sift and sort through a lot. So my ROE, return on energy, is up, right. And then, I'm always focused on the cost per acquisition, right. But all of that really comes down to, like, we can generate the leads all day long, but if our follow-up game is not strong, like, it doesn't do us any good.
Yep.
And I know that you guys have, some great ways, which I'm excited to learn about, dude. Because to be fully honest, I mean, I've tried building out mini chat, sequences, campaigns, right? And we're still traditional follow-up, 1,000 email text campaigns, pounding the phones. I mean, it's still, we're like at 1 out of 42 with our leads as far as a conversion, but that's still around 400. I think last time I checked it was like 442 dials to closing. Right. So we still have a lot of manual labor behind that. And I know that you guys are doing some things to kind of hack that down. So just really interested, man, and to hear like what you guys are doing and what your software does, for to manage and help with that lead follow-up.
Yes, 100%. So what we have done over the last really, 3 years since Facebook opened up its API is develop real estate chatbots that at first they were pretty basic. They would have some simple functionality where you drive a lead from Facebook, and after getting their first name, last name, phone number, and email, they would then on the thank you page be driven into Facebook Messenger to then subscribe and have just another channel to get a hold of them. Well, that extra channel ended up being a huge investment in time and energy to develop an experience that not only was something that the end user would interact with and enjoy, but also something that got ROI for our clients. So it ended up being a lot of time and investment on my team to develop all this and learn and invest in mini chat and, learn all these ins and outs and rebuild email campaigns in a more conversational way in a completely new format. But it ended up being a huge payoff because now, fast forward, 3 years, we're the leader for this exact thing, for real estate chat and that type of follow-up. I mean, no one else is doing at the level that we're doing it as far as not only Facebook Messenger, but also omni-channel onto SMS text, all of it corresponding based on where they're at in the buyer or seller journey, having it backed by an AI database that's conversational AI, understands natural language processing. When they text, I want to buy a house, boom, they get an instant response. This isn't just like a basic chatbot that says, oh, let me go get someone. It says, hey, we have the best buying process. We'll get you the lowest price. Here's how to, set an appointment with us, and instantly responds. So it took a while, but now we're here. And basically today, our software, realnurture.io, it focuses on this exact thing because the fortune is in the follow-up. And when I was doing the marketing agency Steezy Digital side for top brokers, I realized, okay, we could generate leads, but they need help with the follow-up too. So that's where we really discovered the importance of this in the real estate sales cycle. So with Real Nurture, what we're able to do is have, yourself, an individual agent, anyone really can go in, start a free trial, and instantly set up our mini chat template, which custom brands to them. It's installed onto their Facebook page with their, realtor brand. They go through about 15 questions to set up our template. And I mean, this template has over 200 flows. That the flows actually have custom IDs that correspond with our AI database. So what happens is when someone texts, hey, I want to buy a house, it doesn't just respond generically. It responds with your phone number, with your live calendar, schedule and booking link. It responds with your realtor service area saying, hey, I have the best sales process, or I have the best buying process in Cardiff, if you're only in Cardiff by the Sea, California, and San Diego. So it's very specific to you. And this took a long time to be able to set it up to be easy for yourself or for, an individual agent to go in and set up. But we're finally there. And what it helps to do is have the conversation on the right channel at the right time, stay top of mind, right? Deliver value through the buying and selling journey. If the average buyer lead is 6 months out, that's driven from Facebook, well, how are you touching them along that journey in order to then tee up that sales conversation? Well, we help to do it on channels that are actually being opened, right? SMS text, Facebook Messenger. So what other specific questions do you have about it?
My question would be, just to even simplify it a little bit further, like let's just say me as a real estate agent, a lead comes in, like kind of what's an example of that journey, what sent when to where?
Totally. And we actually have like a free training online that walks you through visually, because it does help. But basically what would happen is a lead comes in online. Let's say it's a buyer lead. Buyer lead comes in. We get their first name, last name, phone number, email from a Facebook lead form. So commonly we still run the lead form ads. Then on the thank you page, we say, your list of properties are delivered in Facebook Messenger. Click this link. So they click the link, they subscribe. So now we have their first name, last name, phone number, and email instantly integrated with your CRM. That happens right away. On the thank you page, then we get them to opt into Facebook Messenger. Now we have a rich media experience waiting for them. We have their list of homes that is, linked back to the realtor's website, the IDX, with, custom searches and everything. We're actually working on our own native MLS integration. More to come on that, but we're super close. We actually have like a demo for that. So basically the person in Facebook Messenger, kind of like interacting with an iOS app or a Google Play app, they are having this experience that has been pre-designed for them, that's specific to real estate. It's branded to the agent. So they're not seeing, a different app. They're seeing, Aaron Taylor, the real estate guy, and getting messages back instantly. And they're having a little conversation. And then it will also say, hey, we want to be a resource for you. So, throughout your buying journey, we're going to follow up and send you a message every day or two. If it ever becomes too much, just type stop, right? So we make it very easy for them to unsubscribe, which is key. We want them to be able to unsubscribe easily, because that keeps the open rates at 80, 90%, right? So then through that journey, they're getting little value nuggets, little things here and there. And as they're clicking through, every click is tracked, and we actually increase their lead score based on that engagement. And we'll let the agent know, hey, this is a hot lead. We've sent them 10 lead nurture sequences. They've clicked all 10, right? And so we score them based on how they're interacting with all this content. But it's very fun, conversational. It's a much more edutainment style lead nurture experience. That's the type of content that's working today. It's educating and it's entertaining, right? It's got both aspects going for it. So we really have built out a much more conversational experience that reminds them of the realtor. Oh yeah, this is that realtor that I, submitted my information to 6 months ago. Like, how many times do you call and they're like, who are you?
Right.
That's the worst. But if they've been getting little messages here and there every day or two, and maybe you missed them on the first 2 calls, but you catch them on the 3rd call, and they're like, oh yeah, right? They were just like interacting with the chatbot. You can actually see it on your Facebook page as they're clicking buttons, and then call them. So that there's like an easy handoff of, oh yeah, I just saw you were messaging my page. So it's helped a lot with building more authenticity and trust prior to the call, and also reaffirming and the top of mind awareness through the buying or selling journey. So that's really the effectiveness of it in a nutshell.
Yeah, it's powerful, man. And since the release of these AI spam filters for email, man, it's getting tougher and tougher, right? To get emails open, to not get everything saying to spam, so I love the alternative routes. And you're just meeting the consumer where their eyeballs are. I mean, the reality is people, they understand that emails pretty much work now, or everybody's got a spam email, right? But we only have one Facebook Messenger, which we're all checking, right? So you're meeting them where they are, plus you're having workarounds to get your message seen, which is so critical, dude. Love it. So then when you say this integrates with whomever CRM, right? Let's just say they have like a Conversion or Boomtown or Perfect Storm or whatever it may be. How does that, not necessarily from a technical aspect of how the integration works, but is it a thing of now you're kind of working out of 2 systems, or is everything that's taking place communicated into that agent's CRM?
Great question. So to clarify and not get too lost in the weeds, what we do is set up the integration from the Facebook lead form. So your CRM is instantly given that data. The rest of the conversation, all the chatbot stuff, that happens through your Facebook page. So you don't have a new channel to worry about. I realized early on, I thought, do I need to develop a CRM platform for realtors? And then when I looked at what problem is that solving, or it's really not solving any problem, because every agent has already one CRM, sometimes two. They have one from their brokerage and then the one that they really want to use, right? So I was like, they don't need a third. I just need to be able to either get the data in there or somehow integrate with it. So we try to make it as user-friendly as possible, not having to learn another platform, not having to manage data in another platform. So what happens is our agents, they can view everything that's occurring through their Facebook page, right? That's where on their Facebook business page in the inbox, you can just see conversations happening for you. So that's where that happens. But then instantly when the lead is generated at the very beginning, that's where, boom, it's sent to the CRM. And then in some cases later, like for example, if we say, hey, this is a hot lead, we're sending what's called like an admin notification. We can send that either through Facebook Messenger to the agent. So it says, boom, hey, this person is interacting with all the lead nurture stuff. Boom, this person just requested for a CMA. Or we can send it as a text to that agent. And we set that up as a custom integration. So, you know, there are options there based on how the client wants to receive their own notifications.
Yeah. And by client, I mean how the realtor wants to receive their own notification.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then, you know, when you hear all this stuff, I mean, because all this stuff sounds amazing, and I know it is amazing, right? But, you know, us real estate agents, you know, right, we're sales guys, you know, salesmen and women, you know, right? Like not always the most tech savvy. And even if we are tech savvy, like, you know, I'm not a developer. I'm not extremely, you know, tech savvy myself. You know, I'm okay at it. But even then, it's like my time is best spent.
Nailed it.
Right? Setting appointments, conducting appointments, negotiating contracts. Like, so what is the timeline and the ease of, because I think that's probably like all this stuff sounds so great, but I know that that's probably the concern of a lot of our listeners' minds of like, oh shit, you know, another thing that's going to take me 60 days to learn how to set up.
Right. So we've gone through a lot of testing with this. And at first we were just doing everything for the agent. We only worked with top agents. And that's what Steezy Digital was fully based on is, hey, we're going to, by the way, Steezy stands for style with ease. So the whole philosophy is we're going to help top brokers look better online and get results online and have it be super easy for them, right? So we want to just do it all for them. And because we were acting as a marketing agency for them, it was on the more expensive side, right? It was a management retainer, plus then they would purchase the leads. So they would have an ad spend budget that we would manage, but it took them zero time, right? How valuable is your time? That is the question. So when you're a top broker, your time is super valuable. Now, when you're an individual agent and just starting off, your time is not quite as valuable. So you can't justify, you know, spending, you know, $1,000+ per month on a management retainer and then plus ads. So with that, we came out with Real Nurture, but we went through a trial and error phase. I'll be honest. We attracted some tech savvy agents that were already kind of researching ManyChat. You know, we were running our own Facebook ads and targeting people. And we found some agents that were already looking up how to set this stuff up for themselves. And I kind of just gave them the templates and training and let them fail. Like I just like threw them to the wolves and was like, okay, here it is. This is exactly how we set up the system for top brokers. Go for it. Have fun. Like you have a Facebook group for support. Like we're here for one-on-ones. And what would happen inevitably is that after testing this for about 18 months now, most agents would last about 4 months, not have it set up properly. We would try and contact them and reach out. They had already kind of like mentally moved on and then they would cancel. And we were like, what's happening with this, right? Like, where's the disconnect? And what I realized is the aha moment that I want every agent to experience with my software as a service model with Real Nurture. I want every agent to see a Facebook ad come in, have them opt into the Facebook Messenger chatbot, and have that chatbot respond on behalf of the agent instantly when they have a question. That's oh, this worked. Like this is responding for me while I'm at my kid's soccer game and setting an appointment for Tuesday. Right. And like, that's the aha moment, but agents weren't getting to the point to have that aha moment. They weren't able to set it up on their own. And like you said, the learning curve maybe was just too long if I just left them to their own devices. So it's nothing against the agent. It's nothing against, their intelligence, their tech savviness or anything. It's just, they have a million things going on. They're not only a sales guy or a sales gal, but they're also a business owner, right? They have so many things going on. So what we have decided since then is we're going to do concierge onboarding, meaning someone from my team is going to walk you through how to set all of it up in the beginning, which really only takes an hour or two. Truly, honestly, like we've made it as streamlined as possible. But we help set it all up. That way you can get the ad rolling, have that aha moment, all within your free trial time. So you start a free trial, boom, you have ad rolling and everything and chatbot nurturing within that 7-day period. And if after that, 90 days goes by and you've just seen all these crazy results come in, then we're confident, hey, now you're going to be here forever, right? So what we're doing is investing more upfront into the setup for them just to get the ball rolling. And then at that point, it's so much easier. So I don't want them to worry. I don't want agents out there to be like, oh man, this sounds great, but I can't do it, because we really help you in the beginning now. We focused so much more on that beginning phase. I really thought agents would be able to do it all just like, here it is. But it's pretty complex to set all this stuff up. So now we walk you through it.
Yep. Love it, dude. Yeah. Cause I mean, you got the complexity element, but then you also got the time element, right? And agents are busy, right? And just like we're all busy, right? So yeah, it's huge, man. And I like how you express the win there too, because your win is long-term customers that are continuing to pay for the software, right? So you need them to be successful.
Yeah, exactly. I don't win on a 4-month and then cancel. And that's not the point. I want to impact agents and empower them with technology. Like, I don't want someone to pay for something they're not using for 4 months and then cancel. So from my aspect too, I from just an impact and a purpose standpoint, I said, hey, we got to make this better. We have to close this gap and help in the beginning here, because honestly, I want agents to be on this for years. I want this to be a household name. So realnurture.io is something that agents are like, oh, you don't have this? You got to have this, right? So that's the vision.
Yeah, love it, man. And now how would, if there is, because we have a lot of top producers that listen to this show, and I mean, so if you are somebody that's like, dude, I don't want to do any of it, man, and I want the the Steezy model, is the software included when you go with the Steezy model?
Yes.
So it's okay, cool. It's just like the full service or the slightly do-it-yourself service with a lot of assistance.
No, you nailed it. And that's actually how I used to position it, is do it yourself or done for you. Like that was the disconnect, is like, which do you want? And when it was like that, and the do it yourself was truly like, okay, there you go. You get templates and training. So now, because it's a hybrid on the do it yourself, we do help more in the beginning. We offer support along the way. But if you truly want to have one onboarding call and literally meet once a week if you want, just to review and talk about upcoming stuff, but we run everything, then that's the Steezy Digital side. Then that starts with a conversation. Everyone's real estate business is different. So what I would want to do is learn more about this particular client's business, what their goals are. Are they recruiting? Are they growing their team? They want to feed their agents? Are they looking for listing appointments for themselves? Like, what is going on? And then, yeah, we can come up with a custom solution using what we do every day, using the software that I'm describing to you, but we would just run it. So it would take you no time. It would be operating at maximum potential. And basically you'd just see extra leads coming in. You'd see, new recruit leads coming in, or whatever it was that your goal was at the time.
Yeah. And I understand that it's impossible to say, put a price to Steezy, right? Because you get a guy like me, especially after you saying the horizontal scale model, I'm going to call you and be like, all right, dude, we're going to run 2,000 ad sets. I got a team of 73 agents, plus I want to recruit, plus I want to, right? Like, that it has to be customized and catered to them. And, you know, but, you know, the realnurture.io, I mean, with everything that you guys do, you know, right. I mean, there's so much that it encompasses. You know, give us an idea of, if you're okay with this. I know you're going to give websites, but I mean, what is kind of I don't know if there's different levels to that, or if it's the same level, same price point for everybody.
For Real Nurture?
Yeah, for Real yeah.
Yeah, so we have two pricing tiers. The first is $39.99, so literally $39 a month. And that one is essentially access to our ManyChat real estate template. It's a more basic version. And the reason why is because with recent Facebook compliance update, you cannot send a Facebook message outside of 24 hours from the last interaction with the page. So if that user has not interacted, clicked a button, or messaged your page in the last 24 hours, you cannot send them an automated message. This is a new update as of March 4th, 2020. So basically our old template that we had built out that was all on Facebook Messenger, we can no longer use the lead nurture sequences with it. So it's a basic version of that. It's basically, you could drive the lead, they can interact, you get access to our AI. So if they text your page, boom, they'll get an instant response, which is still obviously super valuable. And we give you, you know, a couple Facebook ad templates to work with. So it's more of a generator. That's $39.99 a month. If you want access to the omni-channel template, which means we can follow up and re-engage the conversation on SMS text and drive them back to Facebook Messenger, and it's all compliant, and you got kind of like the whole shebang for Real Nurture, it's only $199 a month. You get more Facebook ad templates. You know, we help you with all the setup and everything. So those, obviously I wanted to position it as something that's super affordable for agents, and, you know, you get a lot of support along the way.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, crazy cheap, dude, you know, right. For everything that's being offered there, man. And it's awesome, dude. So then what kind of, you know, when I ask this question, you know, right, because I see so many real estate agents, I also want to set realistic expectations, you know, right, because, you know, not just real estate agents, entrepreneurs in general, because I get, man, like a lot of us are, you know, that driven, high D personality type, want instant gratification, and so often, you know, taking one at Napoleon Hill's Think Grow Rich book, we stop 3 feet short of gold. You know, right? We don't give things enough time. And, you know, I know my database right now, because we do a lot of Facebook leads for my real estate business, is 6.7 months out before they're wanting to start the journey with us. That means sign up by our broker or listing agreement, not even sell, you know, right? What kind of time frame, like, do people need to give this? Like, once it's fully set up, and give this. And then the second part to this, and I'm just going to state this because you might want to answer them together if it's easier for you, but then, like, what is the increase that they're seeing in, you know, engagement, responses, overall conversion ratios, you know, with this amazing system?
Yeah, great question. So you definitely want to give it enough time. I say 90 days is a good amount just to be able to see the leading indicators. Now, sometimes we have escrows close in month 1, but that doesn't happen all the time. So I like to give it at least 90 days. We actually have a 90-day money back guarantee for realnurture.io. So if you're not getting the types of results that you want, even after 90 days, we'll give you a full money back guarantee. But obviously 6 months is when you'd really see that. I mean, with every dollar you put in, you're going to get a 1-to-1 return on that. If you have good calling systems, right? You're actually like converting these leads. And then to answer your question about what are they going to see as far as impact on their overall business? Well, if you are really investing into this follow-up system and you're driving a significant amount of your leads every month through it, then what we see is between a 1% and 4% conversion rate. And if you're really on top of them, that's where you get those like 3% and 4%. So, you know, some of the best from Facebook ads are seeing like 1% to 2% conversion rate. And what we've seen are higher than that, you know, by a full percent or 2. So this is extremely effective if you're really investing in it, leaning into it. But also the whole point is that it's teeing up the sales call, right? That's the whole point. It's not, this whole system is not meant to replace you. It's not meant to close escrow. The whole point is to set that sales call, develop know, like, and trust, and develop affinity from the buyer or the seller to you prior to that call, and then through the journey. So just know that, you still got to then go do what you do best, show up, do your sales. Like, that's the whole point. But if you have all that in place and you just don't want to let things slip through the cracks, you want to invest in some of this automation and have some of this set up for you to help, perfect. This is the system that's for you.
Yeah, love it. That's really powerful, man. I know so many real estate agents want to replace 100% the follow-up, right? But the reality is you guys run high ticket sales, like to just set the appointment. That's going to take a phone conversation. And then obviously to close into a client, that's going to take a face-to-face or a video, right? Like a Zoom call like this. And believe me, I've tried as hard as anybody to replace it with high ticket sales, but it's like anything of over $4,000 product, man, like zero success, right? It's gotta, but dude, then going back to, just for our listeners that are watching or listening to this, that 3 to 4% conversion rates for your top agents that really, or when I say top agents, I'm not talking mega agents. I'm talking about people that are on top of their game, their follow-up game. That's huge. It's taken us, we've been at Facebook ads really hard now since 2015. And it took me over 3 years to get to 2%. And we're still there. And that's with an ISA, right? So we're just, we're one out of, I don't know what it is, 46, 43. I have to look at our tracker for that. But that's just our traditional Facebook lead ad to our general follow-up, right? And, if you look, when we went from 1%, 1 out of 100, like, 2 to 3% doesn't sound like a big difference, dude. Like that's either, if you're at 1%, that's 1 out of 100 versus 1 out of 50 would be 2%. 1 out of 30 would be 3%, because it's not just the cost of money spent, right? I mean, that's a huge savings on the, I'm sure if you can get to that 2 or 3% ratio, if they're normally converting at 1 or 0.5%, they're probably getting a 3x ROI on just the system alone, right? Based on the lead savings account. But then when we think of cost of time saved, that's always my biggest focus. Right. If I can only do 30 dials, if that 30 conversations versus 100, do that. And that is so massive. I mean, it's huge. And I hope everybody, because I know sometimes when we're thinking of just a percent here and there, it's easy to dismiss, but it's the percent, the small little 1% marginal increment gains that truly make or break a business.
100%. And, with that 4%, I don't want to say that that's common. That's rare. But if you even go from 1 to 2, you're doubling your income. If you go from 2 to 3, I mean, it's such a big difference. And that's why, real nurture is so focused on the follow-up and the nurture, because most agents, in my opinion, they're so focused on lead generation, but they already have enough leads in just their database and their sphere and in the leads that they drove, 2 years ago and then stopped that program, but they still have them all in an Excel spreadsheet. Like, all that stuff could be leveraged again, but having these effective follow-up systems in place is really the difference maker. And still hitting the phone, having an ISA if you're not going to do it, like having these things in place and making sure that your bases are covered so things aren't slipping through the cracks.
Yeah, amazing stuff. And I know, Jeff, that you had already given the websites, but just one more time, man, for anybody that's watching or listening, dude, that wants to go check out your websites. I know that you have a free trial period with realnurture.io. It's not really probably possible to do a free trial period with, with Steezy, but like, where's the best place? Because you have a lot of information on the websites, dude. You've got, you can check out demos, all of that. Like, where's the best place to learn more? Maybe try that free trial. Like, where are the best places to go, dude?
Absolutely. So in the show notes, I'm going to include a free 7-minute chatbot crash course for real estate. So if you're like interested in this, you just have no idea what we're kind of talking about, or maybe you've tested a little bit, what we have is a free home evaluation flow. A flow is basically like one conversation. So in our full template, we have 200 flows, right? But if you want to just try this out, we'll give you one for free. You can set it up, 7-minute video, see how easy it is that we've made it for you to set up. And we link it directly to your Facebook page, you customize it to your brand, and then bam, you have a little real estate chatbot. And That'll be included in the show notes. But for anyone else who just wants to check it out, maybe start a 7-day free trial, realnurture.io. Check out the plans and pricing. Pick one that seems to suit you. But yeah, I think that a really good way to get your feet wet would be to click that link for the free chatbot crash course and just see what it's all about.
Yeah, awesome, amazing stuff. And those watching and listening, I know I end every podcast with this, but information without implementation is truly just the start of delusion. Information isn't power. It's taking that information, taking action on it that gives you the power that that allows you to create the life that you know you want and deserve. And you guys, Jeff shared so many amazing pieces of advice with you guys. They take something that you learn, go out there and take immediate action. So again, you can create that life that you know you want and deserve. And Jeff, man, truly appreciate you taking time out of your busy day to be here. I know we're all kind of on lockdown right now during this quarantine time, dude. And the fact that you're here, you showed up, man, I mean, speaks volumes for your character, and just truly appreciate you being here, brother.
Thank you. I really appreciate you having me on, Josh. And hopefully it added some value to you and your community. And yeah, I'm looking forward to continuing to add value to the real estate community as the days go on, quarantine or not.
Yeah, 100%, my friend. Well, thanks again, Jeff. And those watching and listening, thank you so much for all your support, and we'll see you next time. Peace.
Peace.